Secretary General Paul Mashatile has just started addressing the media. Let's listen in.
Regional secretaries as well to look at these issues in the main, and I'm sure Comrade Notka will explain. The branches sometimes change delegates, correctly so, because somebody who is supposed to come is not there, so they want to make some changes. So we allow them to do that. It helps because by the time you finalize credentials and go to plenary, you don't have a lot of questions from the floor. So I'm hoping that with the delay that we experience, it will help us as we move forward, that there are no issues that are raised. As Comrade Pule was saying, I have on behalf of the National Executive Committee wish the province well in this conference. There will be discussions, as you know, on various issues. So it's not just about elections. There will be discussion on policy documents. Comrade Ndu, the provincial secretary, has indicated that when we go back this evening, we will continue with the program. We still have to get the organizational report by the secretary, the treasurer's report, then the credentials. Once credentials are adopted, we'll then move to the election of the top 5. What we want to do is that so that we don't lose time, as we are busy, let's say the Electoral Commission is busy dealing with the issue of the ballot papers, we allow conference to proceed to discuss other reports so that we don't lose time. But I'm sure the program directors or chairs of the session will continue to update you. So we are happy that you are here, you are slogging it out into the night with us. And we'll continue to give you the necessary information you need. The provincial chair is here, conveners here. Please ask whatever questions you may wish to ask. But we are quite happy as a leadership that the delegates are disciplined. They listen to inputs properly, and I'm sure that spirit of discipline will be carried through to the discussions this evening and tomorrow until we leave. So thank you very much for coming. Comrade Pule, we will listen to the questions that they have, and we are all here to respond.
Thanks, TG. We'll now open the floor for questions.
Sigi Madia, Eyewitness News. Thank you for the sorry, Sigi Madia from Eyewitness News. My first question, I suppose, is for either one of the three of you. When Zenu Zuma made the former president's presence known here, whether it's physically or not, what sort of reception awaits the ANC president on Sunday if he does come through? That's my first one. My second question is for the TG. It's not necessarily about this conference, but it is about the upcoming policy conference next weekend. There's been an agitation that it must be turned into an AGC. Now, the ANC constitution, from my understanding, doesn't actually allow for that. It says AGC is 2 years apart, and it says that it's not necessarily a must-have. So it almost looks impossible, but there is an agitation. I just wanted to get your understanding of what that actually means and what that's about. And then just a quick question for the chairperson. Sike, I think most of us were talking about it, feel like there is a bit of a sense of unity. People seem to be getting along. There's no real strong hostility towards each other in the room. However, the outcome could change that. What are your thoughts about what's possibly going to happen here by the end of the weekend, and how you still continue to try to pull together? And we've asked this question to you before, but the national players were involved in provinces who interfere. Are you continuing to see that trend here? Are you concerned about the role of national leaders in the contestation here? Thank you.
Let's try and keep them brief.
Abongile Dumago, SABC News. Can you confirm if President Cyril Ramaphosa of the ANC will come here Sunday? Thank you.
Who are you asking? All of us?
Oh, you said brief, so we are here.
Okay, there's another hand here.
Thank you very much. It's Zianda Noble from Newsroom Africa. My question is directed at the chairperson. It's for the first time in KwaZulu-Natal where we see so many candidates vying for the position of chairperson and secretary. Do you think this is an indictment on your leadership, that you've left a vacuum, that everybody feels that they could become chairperson now? Thanks.
Clara? There was a hand this side. Okay, you can start with Samkelo and then.
Thank you very much. Samkelo from the SABC. It was the first time in a very long time that KwaZulu-Natal is holding a political conference and we are not political kings in the province. What can you attribute this to, particularly knowing that in Limpopo last night, the Deputy Regional Secretary of Vembe, the Mayor of Orange Chabane Municipality, was also killed? Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to ask a question to staff. I want to know, when you came in this morning, there were a group of members of the ANC from Ward 91 from Kowana Township. They came in and said there were 6 delegates here whom they did not know where they were chosen, selected, or where. So I wanted to know whether, in response to that, so that when I said the matter will be looked at, I want to know whether there's any progress, whether they will participate throughout the conference.
Okay.
No, thanks. No, let me start with the first question. When's Nuzuma, the song? I think it's a song that we have been singing a number of times. I'm not sure whether you attended the NGC way back in 2005.
No.
And if not, so. But in the context of today, I think firstly, there is no one who was on stage who is in charge of the propaganda machinery. So it was not directed to anyone. But we cannot also hide the fact that there is pain in the membership of the ANC generally, and in some society, in the societal members, pain about how former president was treated. If you will go to a rural area, you do door to door, and then an ordinary woman in a deep rural area would say, but how? Ngisho kuthiwa nosungamopha ena 8 years. Into omdala kangaka. And others would say, kodwa bengemiyeke a retire. So there is that pain on how President Zuma was treated. But your question was answered by the Secretary of the ANC in his last interview before this conference, and I think he gave a detailed response to this question, that in front of the society is that the ANC as a government has an authority on judiciary, which ordinary people think that no, you are government and therefore you are in charge of judiciary. And they don't understand this independence of judiciary, that no, government or the party cannot be involved. So that's a kind of pain that we often face, but also that we experience. And I think the question is answered fully. I'm not going to deal with the issue of the NGC. The issue of unity is always under construction. It is like building a branch. You cannot have a state where you will say this branch is 100% complete. It's not like a house. It's a process. You unite the organization. In as far as the participation of the NEC members, whether it's still continuing, let us leave that for the internal processes in the ANC so that we deal with it. We've agreed that at some point the NEC will have some kind of a retreat to deal with issues of organizational renewal. And I believe it belongs to that. I'm sure, Zianda, you are just asking this question because no sector province. Rather than being a kind of a witness, you should be saying, hey, man, we are so the ANC has reached a point where people will be free to stand. But there's only one element in this issue that we need to take serious of. It's when people are not nominated by structures and they nominate themselves. And that reflects that the ANC, in some cases, other people believe that it's a liberal movement where you can bring features of what we see in particular in the West. But it's not in the tradition of the ANC. The ANC does not work like that. And that's why the TG maybe will get into the guidelines that the NEC has adopted on around the issue of discussing leaders in the ANC. All along, the framework that we've been using is the 2002 through the eye of the nickel. Now, I wouldn't say it's a vacuum. By the way, what is a vacuum? Let's answer that. What's a vacuum? A vacuum is when there is a leadership expected and it is not there. And the leadership of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal has been there. This leadership, it came in when the organization was divided from post-2012 National Conference. You will remember when 2012, there was a contest of who becomes the chair. And post that, there was a serious division leading to 2015 conference that was taken to court. And it was resolved on the eve of the 2017 National Conference, the Nasrec one. And today, we are all here. And you should be applauding the KZN leadership for running regional conferences with the manner in which we restore the decorum and the values of the ANC. There is not even a single regional conference that left without completing its business. Even some of the conferences had an opportunity to go to commissions. The delay that you saw in eThekwini was a delay of adopting credentials, which were about a day or hours. So all conferences have been conducted smoothly. So the vacuum of leadership we are talking about, what is it? The ANC leadership has dealt with societal problems that have not been faced before. Since 1994, there hasn't been an incident in this province where you lose the king. Complex matter were always regarded as the Zulu province, Zulu-dominated province. We dealt with that. We handled it. We've dealt with issues of COVID. Maybe we're more visible than other provinces, both government and organizational. We were there when there was an unrest. So where's this vacuum you're talking about? So I think we've satisfied you, but let me come back to the organization. There is a tendency of people who want to say, no, elect me. Some maybe they know the ANC, some maybe they don't know what is the ANC. Let me hold it at that level for now. No, I think there is The last question I will answer, or two questions. The first one is political killings. I think you should analyze this deeper. Which conference was preceded by killings? Which one? And that's why you should study the report of the Commission of Moerane. Mostly, the issues that have related to killings have been around governance, government, and issues around there. And that's why it has affected more councillors. And if you study that report, it will tell you of how we should improve the system, which is the work that is being done. Even when we went to 2015 conference, look, in the province, maybe there are almost 3 conferences that have been so marked with divisions. 1998 was divided. 98, we were dealing with the case of the likes of Fiso Nkabinde. Very, very serious divisions. We were there. That's a very serious division. It's when Comrade JZ was leaving the province to national. Contest between SPU and Comrade Zweli. 2002, we began to deal with these issues. 2015, we suffered divisions, serious one, which paralyzed the organization, left other comrades feeling that they must go out of the movement. No one died. So the matter is not necessarily about internal, but the matter has been about the political killings have been so much links to the state and resources in the state. So I think that question is clear. What 91, I heard about that march when I arrived. Yes, there were a few people there. I don't know whether 91 would have 6 delegates. 6 delegates, I don't know, they could say so, but just be logical. Hammersdale, the membership, and you are carrying 2 reports, it means you've got access to the credentials report. So you can check. You can check whether they are eligible to have 6 delegates, and I don't believe that. But on top of that, we are not going to turn this press conference to be the credentials committee. Processes in the ANC have been very clear. If you have an appeal, you appeal, I think, within 3 days after your BGM. Now, if comrades are saying they hear that there are delegates from their branch, let them go to the appeals committee. Now, I see you want to appeal for them here, but they must follow the due processes and appeal. They will be attended to. And the response will not come to the press conference. The response will be through the credentials committee, the steering committee, to the plenary. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Probably, Pungula, the last thing that we just needed to clarify you on that a conference is run by conference committees. So there are committees that are running this conference. There is a steering committee, there's a credentials committee, there is everything. So that issue that you are raising, when we leave this press conference, we are going to the steering committee. And that issue might be part of the discussion with the steering committee. So it is not something that we can just come into the press conference and resolve it or respond to you on it, because there are processes that run an ANC conference. And I think what the Lord of the Media asked.
That's some guess.
Yes, that question is a very, it might look like a very, just a question, but it's a very important question for this leadership that is outgoing. Because we are talking about a provincial executive committee that was elected in 2018. A provincial executive committee that is finishing its term and is having a provincial conference within its term. a provincial executive committee that has managed to have all regional conferences, as the chair was saying, and all 11 regions have gone through conferences. Somehow, what that tells you is that the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal is in a healthy state, in the sense that even when you look at the credentials report, you look at the branches that have qualified for this conference from each region, you are going to see the highest number of branches in a provincial conference. So that question, therefore, once you are having a healthy organization that is running government, you are going to then have stability somehow in terms of how things are run. And I think that, for me, the question you have raised is saying, it's not a question, it's a compliment in a sense that says, actually, the Provincial Executive Committee in KwaZulu-Natal has managed to do well in the term that is finished. Thank you very much.
Just the other questions. Let me also add that I think Comrade Sihle and Comrade Mafu are a bit modest, because I think the province has done extremely well. I had an opportunity to work with them right from the beginning. You know, to run 11 regions successfully without incidents, it's a mammoth task. So I think they need to be commended for that. You know, I can't ask the media to do a round of applause, but I think it's important for the point to be made that this leadership within their term of office have done extremely well. You'll know that in some of the provinces, you know, some of the PECs have gone beyond their terms, they had to be dissolved. It's not the case here, and I think that's very important to note. The reception of the president tomorrow, in all meetings of the ANC, we expect our members to receive our leaders with discipline. I know that sometimes when they sing, you think that it's not receiving somebody warmly. And let delegates sing. As Comrade Sihle was saying, when they were singing today, was not directed against anybody, but they want you as a leadership to note their concerns. And as Comrade Sihle was saying, that the song Wenzenu Zuma has a history. And therefore, when delegates see leadership, it's an opportunity for them to say, leadership, take note of our pain or our complaint. So I don't think it's a problem. The president has already confirmed that he is coming on Sunday. We have not received any reports so far that suggests he's not coming, but we will be in touch with him, because as you know, there are so many things happening in government at the moment that we keep touching base in terms of who should do what, who should continue where. You know, we're sitting today and we're struggling. Who should go to the Western Cape? There's a memorial service. Other people are here. So things change from time to time. But so far, the president has confirmed that he will attend on Sunday. Yeah, I think the other questions have been answered. Okay, there's one about the NGC. What we decided as the NEC of the ANC was that we will not have an NGC this year. And that matter has been discussed, but we will have a policy conference. Of course, there may be branches that are unhappy because they wanted an NGC. We will have to explain. And NGC is not a policy conference, no policy conference and NGC. Because what you do with an NGC is a very extensive review of progress, halfway the term of office. That's why in most cases it happens in 2.5 years before the 5 years. But what we'll do, we have been working on the program of the policy conference to allow the NEC to give some kind of state of organization. So give a state of organization, but we focus a lot on policy. We will have a detailed report on the organization to the national conference in December. But because the branches of the ANC will be meeting the policy conference, we will give them the state of organization where we are and allow them to engage and then focus on policies. And as I said earlier, we are now set for next weekend with the policy conference. All documents have been distributed to all provinces, to regions and branches, and they are busy engaging on them. We do hope that we'll have a very fruitful policy conference because there is a lot of engagements happening everywhere throughout the country. I think those were the questions that you had asked so far. Thank you.
No, thanks, members of the media. We don't want to make it long, Samke. What we'll do is that we will come back again so that you can take a second bite. We are closing at this stage because we need to go back to the steering committee. Please, members of the media, we will call you again. We'll come back and give update. But thank you very much for being able to disseminate this good story to our people.